Well, hello folks. I know it needs a minute to log on. I couldn't make this up if my life depended on it. And in fact, I'm still a bit shaken to see the face of the evil. Without a doubt, folks, without a doubt. I witnessed the transformation of a Canadian, somewhat local celebrity go full on Nazi. I mean, murdering Indian kind of crazy. Exactly what Vladimir Putin and Russia claim when we look at Ukraine. I watched it. I participated. In fact, I guess I should have asked Darren Mader, but you witnessed that too, following along the podcast from the Lockeroom, Lochlin Cross. For folks out there to understand, when I first started politics, I was a laughing stock, and one man gave me a spot on a radio show in Edmonton, the Lockeroom, put me with the marijuana party guy. Never went anywhere with it, but basically to make fun of me as some kind of hillbilly, no nothing, no good, no nothing. Turned out I surprised him. Everybody said, shock loaded that man. He's been a friend ever since, He is a lefty. He's a lefty, folks. But I promise you, to all First Nations people, we just watched that man prove exactly what I talk about with all Crown Colonials, and just how dangerous it is in Canada, in this colonial system, for Canadians under this form of government, which is the exact same colonial crown system designed first than Nazi Germany. I don't mean just a little bit. I mean to an absolute legal T. Cross T's, dot I's, something I've proven absolutely as a Canadian that I am very good at doing. I articulate, I tell it straight. Lochlin Cross hosts a podcast live, Facebook Live. Hey, he pops up, I'm going to share him. It's on Ukraine. I'm going to sit down and participate. Oh, they start flashing bodies, about 30 bodies. No proof, evidence, no recordings, just dead bodies. And oh, the Russians did it. I get it. War is ugly. I mean, we're all exchanging. But then he goes off. And I don't mean, you hear me go off on tangents, but I mean a screaming, yelling, this goddamn motherfucker. He's sitting there on the phone. I call this prick. He's telling me yada, yada, yada. And I'm sitting there going, what the hell? And I'm listening to him go off. People like that who don't believe this shit's real, they don't deserve their kids. Their kids should be taken away. They fucking should lose all their rights. They're fucking stupid. They don't deserve nothing. And then he's going off. And I post a comment and say, that's exactly what they did with residential genocide. That the Indian people weren't the same, didn't think like you, were too fucking stupid. His words identical, and in that rage, I wanted to fucking kill him. Take his kids away. Don't let him work. Treat him like an animal. I'm just sitting there going, whoa, this is a radio personality, fairly famous in Edmonton. If you haven't heard of the Lockeroom, it's very popular. And this guy's going off, and I say, you mean just like residential school genocide? Because that's exactly how people talked about the Indians of the time, all the way through, even upwards of just a few years ago. And that Canadians and all First Peoples, I couldn't make this up. I am loading the video on Facebook right now. It's going to pop up in media following this video. I couldn't make this kind of travesty of the human being up. It is exactly what Vladimir Putin's talking about. Now, Lochlin has Ukrainians on the line in Kiev. And you know how he answers? And you'll see it in the video that I recorded. Because I'm blocked. I had to record Tina's phone. She went back. They haven't erased all my comments yet, which has been going on all over the place. I'm getting blocked, deleted, giving real legal truth of how the world really works. There is nobody, no expert to come forward, I can promise you that, to dispute anything I say. I keep calm. I did name calling on some feeds, not on that feed. I gave straight facts. I know two First Peoples, I believe it was Tina T and Darren Mader were on there to bear witness to that. Folks, they threw me out, but that is how easy it is to quickly transform Canadians into haters of human beings. It is exactly that led to what happened to all the First Peoples in Canada. Easily to manipulate, bamboozle, without a shred of fact, just pure feeling pushed by the alt-left this time. This is Justin Trudeau hate. This is Jagmeet Singh hate, backed up by the Conservatives. Hugely popular, the Russia phobia. It is what led to the genocide of the Indian peoples of Canada. I am sorry, but that's a fact. That is a fact. Take the children away. You don't deserve any rights. You don't deserve to work. You don't deserve to live normally because you're too fucking stupid, because you can't think like me. I'm asking First Peoples and Canadians, does that sound about right? That went through Canada just like it did for the Japanese internment camps, but for the First People in all their history, does that sound about right? Chugs, wagon burners, no good fucking, even though we all know now clearly, if you haven't read it, that it's all manifested from the history of Canada's colonialism from 1876, the day of residential school genocide, forevermore, that continued on for way past 100 years, even into our absolute right now history just 4 years ago. And technically speaking, they've transferred that abuse of power to the provinces. Canadians, First Peoples, this is shocking, disturbing, and clearly proves exactly what I say. Without a shred of evidence, without any investigation, Canadians will just run to whatever their government and media tells them. They love to hate, just like the Nazis. You see people from the far right accepting it. You see people from the far left accepting it. That's exactly what Nazi Germany was. A populism of hate, always targeted on a specific group of people. With zero fact, except for the fact they don't think like you. Absent of all fact and international law, Lochlin goes off on a rage and wants to take away children, take away human rights, become the monster they think they're inherently allowed to be. And politicians, if they find that this is populist enough to win elections, they will do exactly that, as Canada has done in its entire history. At one time it was homosexuals. They had to be persecuted, murdered, destroyed in society. At one time it was deaf people in Canada. You had to be murdered, locked up, destroyed in society. Full-on genocide. Absolutely all the First People. There's no doubting that. That's the first example and all the way through. But I'm telling you, people, when that wasn't as fun or got tiring, they found new groups, mental handicaps, and the list goes on and on. I am telling you, folks, there is no investigation for Russia, and there's not going to be. The two parties are all over the bodies. We don't know who was where unless you have a video showing Russians committing the act. And even if you had that, you still have to get the ICC. I want to make something clear, folks. Ukraine is not signatory to the ICC. What does that mean? Ukraine, in its unitary system from the Soviet Union, it's all its history, refuses to sign any binding human rights laws at all. In fact, they said no to the Roman Statute. They never wanted to sign on with ICC, even though they go to Karen Khan now, and Karen Khan will do anything on genocide. That's what the ICC does. But the P5 are the judge, jury, and executioner. We already know Russia's not going to do it. Just like Donald Trump didn't do it, because USA's not in the ICC either. They're judge, jury, and executioner. But if they want, they can sanction any prosecutor from the ICC. They can ban them from their country. And they can kill people throughout the world. Sanctions, killing. I've gone through this. It's all listed for you in the UN Charter, and much more after that in subsequent powers cemented by all five. Every nation in the world voted for that, and if you don't understand that, I'm sorry. It's written, it's law. Without law, if we don't have a rule of law, we have nothing. When we start making it up, we start going it our own way, like old Lochlin Cross, whose following clearly has fallen off. I went through his videos. We were looking with Tina. Hardly any likes and loves at all. It amazes me that he's even capable of being on the air anymore. And I haven't been following him for a long time, but he popped up and I thought, it's Ukraine. Sure, I want to check this out. But to see that evil just pop out, and it's on a radio show cast out to absolutely hundreds of thousands of Edmontonians who listen every day. They listen to that. What do you think is going through their minds? How long until that same Nazification, which is clearly already manifesting? I'm driving around, F Putin, the flags out the windows. That was wrong for Canadian flags in the convoy. But now that's okay. I don't see police pulling and say, look, this is inappropriate to be shadowed around. Same as some guy standing, a drunk Russian, in front of a bar. As I heard from neighbors in the neighborhood, we have a pub around the corner. A Russian, I'm with Russia. People told him, shut up. This is the problem, folks. If you don't see that Canada is that which is colonial, that's what Nazification is. It's all of the colonies, all the colonials, its embedments. Canada is Canada one, the first one, the worst one. Our genocidal history, what we've done to the First Peoples, and we still allow and leave the ability to do, is unreal, unbelievable. South Africa, through apartheid, built exactly like Canada, had to be put down. They had to put that country down, meaning completely revoke their constitution and void it. They had to dismember and void all the political parties. That's the equivalent of NDP, Liberals, and Conservatives. Wiped out completely. They couldn't go forward. They had to dissolve the elections. It was that bad because there's no salvaging it in such huge human rights atrocities. The program, the institutionalization, remained for the South Africans. It's a lot better now. South Africa has had many decades to transform. They have. They're tremendously better than they were. There's still issues there. They're working through it. But to see a media personality go right off the rocker and speak in complete Nazificated, systemic, genocidal talk is unbelievable in this day and age. And to see and hear that, it's like, You would be the first to murder Indians. You would be the first, if you were told by the media that these are dumb, no good people, you would have lined up to help the abuse along. You would have been one of those people. And anyone, as I'm giving this video, that video's loading, I recorded, it's 5 minutes of your life. Watch it. And, you start to wonder if his following has fallen off so drastically, so radically. How are you being paid to stay on the air? Who's paying the wages, right? It's scary. I don't know how bad Canada's going to get, but I think everybody can agree the radicalization of Canada, the sense that you can't have intelligent conversations without somebody going way off the deep end. When we all know the problem is the cost of living is just too damn high. Too much is being taken. There's too much pressure on the people. And I'm going to tell you, in these colonial designs like Canada's 1867 onward, those countries are the first to jump into genocidal mania of a group of peoples. They will find a group of peoples to find someone to blame instead of always, and it's always been the politician's fault because your system's broken. People can't handle that. Watch the Lochlin cross from the Lockeroom 95.7 in Edmonton. I couldn't believe it. And to block me, delete all the provincial history like I didn't exist. Another typical Nazi move. Erase all history, erase everything about the person, hide from the truth. Folks, it's just a matter of time before we elect the wrong kind of nutcase who's going to run in that populism, which is always ever present in these designs, because Canada is the original design, older than what was Nazi Germany. Nazi Germany got everything from Canada. You will find Chancellor translates exactly as defined by that German constitution of the time, the same as Governor General of Canada. You will find all the other crown positions, because Nazi Germany, they had their crown. That's true. Look at von Bismarck, the monarch of Germany. Hitler didn't go for presidency. He went for absolutely the chancellor position, governor general. He took the courts, he took the police, he took the military, and went absolutely genocidal. In an exact same time period, much like what Canada's going through. High inflation, super rising cost of living. And then it's find an ethnic group to blame. Find somebody who has to be liquidated, steal all their assets, grab their children. This was done to all the First Peoples in Canada. It created a tremendous amount of wealth. Germany copied it and did it to the Jews. Created a tremendous amount of wealth, the ability to create a war machine. I don't know how far Canada will go with that. They're very sneaky with their Nazification. But right there live today, guys, I couldn't believe the absolute manifestation of that lunatic left, radical left, Nazified human being. I don't know Lachlan Cross anymore. I don't want to know him anymore. If you can't have intelligent conversations, if you can't look at what someone presents and go, look at that, is it credible or not? It's real simple. You myth bust people. You have intelligent conversations. If you can't back up your facts and your responses, genocide the person, go full Nazi, busted. Bad news, folks. A friend of mine, Callie Temple from Alberta, kids sent home from school, too many COVID sick teachers. Kids got to go back to homeschooling for a week. That's what they're saying, till teachers get better. Public sector, they're dropping like flies. I guess the rest of us are superhuman. I drink, I smoke. Somehow I'm immune to COVID for the last 2.5 years. Like, I've not even had a cold, not even had the flu. I don't know. Working real dirty shit environments and radiation, all the worst kind of things you can do. But apparently I don't get sick, but teachers do, and health professionals, and all the public sectors going down the toilet to back up the left's narrative. I mean, we're at that point, folks, where is this what we're going to be doing now? We're going back into lockdowns because the public sector needs holidays, which are paid for by you and me. We don't get those holidays. They do. We don't. They can work from home. We can't. You start to go, let's have a look at what led to Nazi Germany. Oh yeah, all those factors, plus the crown, customary law, and the narrative by the government to get everybody looking for an enemy, looking for someone to blame. Find an ethnic group to blame. I am terrified for the First Peoples in Canada. I truly am terrified for all the First Peoples in Canada. I know the work we have to do. Canada is so afraid of that work, and the massive attack I watched today. It's terrifying. It's terrifying, and we have to finish it. We have to do it. These are the things in life. I'm going to tell you, and for those who can go through the education, those party insiders who will get limited access, there are our party people who are going to get to kind of follow along, but not see too many of the details, because this really truly is all about those First Peoples. We can't have any leaks regardless, and, you know, loose lips sink ships. But I'll tell you, this is going to probably be the hardest thing I've ever done, and the longest road, and I can see the evil rising all around me, and I am truly, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, after what I watched today and what I've been seeing around, I am terrified for all the First Peoples. Watch your loved ones missing, murdered Indigenous women. This is the time, folks, all those at home. Make sure the ladies aren't walking home alone. You know, don't let party time get carried away and people storming off. This isn't the time for that in society right now. There is a hate growing. There is a hate growing. I want to see this residential school genocide see the June 28th, regardless of what happens, even if we failed. I don't think so with that many chiefs. I don't think that's going to happen. I think there's at least enough who've been vocal enough that would follow this path forward. And all we can do is wait and see, and see what the UN reports, the UNSC specifically, regardless of all this crazy. I can see the crown, folks. A lot of you watched it today. It's terrifying. UK, EU's there. EU doesn't have a seat on the UNSC. Why did UK give them a seat, right? And it's right there. They're already planning to try and transform the UN. And I can promise you all this, all those that talk conspiracy or ideas, that if the UNSC P5 falls, we are absolutely back in time almost overnight to that radical League of Nations, which was Nazification, neo-nationalism, because it's crown colonial design. Much older than even Nazi Germany. They were late stage getting into it, but UK, France, and many others have been exploiting that new system design for over almost 600 years now, and it's still out there. There's still these jewels of it, leftovers, at the absolute slavery of black people, absolute destruction of red people, brown people, and the list goes on and on and on. It's gross. It's gross. It's a European thing, a new design they came up with in those 1500 periods all the way through to the early 1900s, and it took World War One and then World War Two. And our heroes today from that time who ended all that, at least gave this beautiful period of a little bit of lack, still more work to do, are USA, Russia, and China. I don't care what anyone wants to tell you. That is the fact of the matter. All those beaten down, Britain, France, and a bunch of others, as well as all the Axis powers of the time, they were all colonials, folks, all in the same system. We are lucky the Soviet Union, as bad as communism may be to you, it's not what I want, but as bad as that may be, as bad as China may be in the way you think of being governed, not appealing, but they did fight, and so did USA. It was all about we, the people. And even in Russia, it's still we, the people. They have a love of Russia, regardless of what people want to believe. Canadians don't even know any Russians. That's a fact. I wanted to go there. I'm not even sure that's going to be possible in a few months. The hate, that colonial Nazification, that hate, grows easily in Canada. It always has, and we are the first to exterminate, destroy all kinds of ethnicities, worse than everybody else, with worse horrific crimes. Worse horrific crimes. That's a fact, folks. That's a fact. That's my video. I know I still have to do my story 14, day 14. We're going to see, I am a little bit shaken. We're going to see, I may combine 14, 15. I don't know, folks. My heart, I don't mean I have bad health. My heart is heavy right now. It's a little bit much. I was very, very shocked to see the Nazi anger. When that video posts, please, people, watch it, share it, especially First Peoples. You have to see this coming. People of color, you have to see this coming. This is what Canada really is. If a guy like Lochlin Cross on a syndicate radio network, he was out in front of hundreds of thousands, at least hearing. No one heard, no one read my comments. That's the other sad part. But for Facebook, Lochlin erase all that, but I've got it recorded. But folks, listen to the portion of hate, and for all First Peoples, people of color, listen to that. That is the growth of the Nazification. Remember, picture of 30 bodies. Nobody know how they got there. There's videos of Russians being tied up, shot in the leg, beaten, kicked, tied up behind their backs, ripped their shirts off. Ukraine claims that happened to them. They're both claiming it. Every war that's ever happened has all of these things in it. All of them. If I do Azure Band tonight, if I do it, I'm going to show you. That just happened, folks. That just happened in our lifetimes on a massive genocidal level. Massive and quickly. Way outpaced Ukraine by a large portion. So those claiming, I'm going to show you millions of death tolls right here in our time, but they're just Middle East, olive-skinned, no good goddamn, so it doesn't make any headlines. It's not a big deal, as I'll go through many, many countries. This one is right in our face, right in the fall of the Soviet Union, what happened. It's huge. I just don't know if I have the energy. I'm still shaking. Like I said, we'll see. I'll give it a couple hours. I'll just take it easy. Maybe I'm going to go watch a comedy. I need that right now. But for all my First People followers and all those Canadians of color, maybe right now, think about the activities you do. And I hate to say that, but I know for First Peoples, watch Lochlin. Supposed to be a funny, good guy. Nothing of that is funny. Nothing of that is anything but absolute freak show. Absolute Nazified Canadian in a split second with no facts, no nothing, no investigation. Just, it's how I feel. Kill, 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 hate, hate, hate. A staple of colonial powers and what they did to institutionalize people. Canada, one of the easiest places to turn masses against ethnic minorities in a second. In a second. And if you don't think that that's not true, I have all of Canada's history, and it's been done many times. Sometimes by the alt-left, sometimes by the alt-right, but it sure gains a populist movement of everybody. And in history, academics still to this day, was it alt-left or alt-right? It's neither. It's both. It can be either or, because it's all about crown colonialism, the divinity of a human being, a divine class of people who rule over all of you, the people, who don't mean shit. And inside your institutionalized system, when it gets dark, when it gets heavy, the immediate reaction is look for somebody to blame, as you can't admit it could be anything but your divine first-class politicians. The world saw Hitler for what he was. From the outside looking in, 6 years later, took 6 years to figure out the genocide of the Jews. Just like in Canada, it takes hundreds of years to get through it. You'll never get through it because we are still Nazified. We are neo-nationalist. We are crown colonial. Canada won, the first one, the jewel of the empire of the Britain royal family. Age of kings and queens. Folks, the worst of the worst is Canada. And they've gotten away with it the longest out of all of them, besides New Zealand and Australia and other jewels out there. Shh. They all stick together, eh? All hide underneath France and UK. Meanwhile, somebody has to take rotation. Canadians are getting angry. Somebody needs to be punished. We have to find an enemy. And trust me, Trudeau and his media, they'll find that enemy. If it isn't Trudeau, maybe it's going to be Pierre Poilievre. Maybe he's going to find the next enemy. All I know is Lochlin Cross has found his new enemy. And somebody's going to turn that into populism. Somebody's going to turn on the Nazi machine that Canada's turned on many, many, many times in history. Sick, sad, perverse. I cannot believe where we are as a state of a country when a radio personality can go forward like that, propagating hate, propagating all of what is exactly what they say is Nazification, neo-nationalism, aka the crown colonial system that's still alive and well today in Canada. And it's only one election away anytime, people. Somebody's going to take that hate. Somebody's going to turn it on. Somebody in a minority. That's my video. Thanks. Bye now.